freedoms and rights are under attack like never before.
This is part of our freedom, this is part of the sovereign right of being Scottish. You already own that. Don't ever give that up, not for a government of any.
There is something rotten inside that building, and it is the Scottish Government. Shame on you! Shame on you!
The building behind me was designed so that you and me could all stand out here and hold our government to account, of any party, of any government. I'd like to go back to Tony Benn's 5 tests of democracy to start off with. Do you hold power? Number 1. Number 2, from whom do you gain power? Number 3, in whose interest do you exercise power? Number 4, how are you accountable? And number 5, how do we get rid of you? So in between elections, that means that this building that's been designed so all of us can directly access our government to tell them how we feel about their policies, how they're affecting us, how they're affecting our cities, our communities. This is part of our freedom, this is part of the sovereign right of being Scottish. You already own that. Don't ever give that up, not for a government of any. It's really important that we're all here today and that we're all here every time there's an opportunity to let the government know between now and the next Holyrood election how we feel about the fact that they think women's voices are not valid, a free press is not valid, separation of the executive, the judiciary, the police force, the state capture of every organ of the state, the education, NHS, the courts, the police, the government. It's not good for anybody in Scotland, and as I say, it doesn't matter whatever political party you support, you should be here today and support your right to protest, your right to hold your government to account, and do it loudly and don't stop.
The 4th presiding officer and the 1st female presiding officer of this Parliament, the Right Honourable Tricia Marwick. And we now find ourselves in the situation where those principles that she sought to preserve and shield from that external influence were brought together by a cross-party group, and they were felt to reflect the purposes and the principles in which this Parliament, the People's Parliament, was founded. And that was accountability, openness and transparency, that it would encourage participation, it would invite power sharing of the people, and it would be done so in a way where everyone's equal opportunities would be respected. Well, it's not accountable, it's not open, it's not participative, nor does it share power in any equitable way to close the doors, to shield the gaze, and to close your ears from the people of Scotland. In demonstrating our dissatisfaction at the contempt being shown today illustrates how this Parliament is turning away from those founding principles. Just ponder this point. The Scottish Parliamentary Corporate Board has sought to restrict the rights of peaceful protest in the wider parliamentary estate, and that request for draconian powers has gone from Scotland to a Home Secretary in Whitehall with absolutely no jurisdiction in Scottish criminal justice system. The police already have sufficient powers to control and protect members and to control the public. It is an affront to our democratic traditions and a threat to our civil liberties to allow this to go ahead, and undermines all of our efforts in pursuing independence from London. So, on the legislation, really, inarticulately called the Serious Organised Crime and Police Act 2005, designated Scottish sites under Section 129, Order 2021. Now, it was made on the 8th of September. That's a week after the Women Won't Wheesht demonstration. That's probably a coincidence. It was laid on the 9th of September and it comes into force on the 1st of October. And under that legislation, as I've said, it could result in summary conviction and imprisonment for up to a year. A full impact assessment has not even been conducted on this legislation. In fact, in the explanatory notes it states, no significant impact is foreseen. Well, how is this for an impact? That claim is wrong, wrong, wrong. Our views are valid. And I will speak, I will march, and I will work against every opponent of Scotland's independence and our right to speak out in the coming months and weeks.
We are all here today because we are worried for Scotland's future. My husband Craig would be standing alongside all of us here today had he not been locked in a cell for 22 hours a day, away from his family and from his life.
They're banning all freedom of protest, as you know, from October the 1st. And as Joan Baez says, action beats despair. And the hour is always right to do what is right, said Martin Luther King. We must all unite to fight for our Parliament. It doesn't belong to MSPs, it belongs to us, the people of Scotland. So on October the 1st, a number of us will come together to come here to maintain our right to protest and are willing to be arrested for that right.